Hey fam, we are back with the second half of our list of 28 ways to foster Umoja during Black History Month and throughout 2020. So number 14, share your knowledge with others. Share your knowledge with others. How unifying is it to be able to take the things that you have learned throughout your life and pass those on to other people, whether it be knowledge of self, whether it be education about the history of your family. Share with other people who look like you the things that you know. Going back to the mentorship piece, it could be sharing with them what you learned throughout the course of your career. For example, my husband is a sports official, and one thing that I really love about him is he likes to share his knowledge of officiating with other people. And if he has an opportunity to do that with people who look like him, he revels in that opportunity because he knows that they are the future. In order to show unity with your people, you have to be willing to share your knowledge with them. Don't hold it for yourself. You won't be here forever. Number 13, start conversations. This is so simple because literally I mean start conversations. Conversations about what? I don't know. You're you. You know what you would want to start a conversation about. But how many times have you been in an establishment with other Black people and just started a brief conversation about nothing? It could just be something funny that you see on the TV, on the screen, in the restaurant. It could be that you're waiting at the bookstore and you see the book that they have and you make a comment about the book. It could be at the gym when you all are talking about health and weight loss. Start conversations with your people, your family. Collectively, there may be millions and millions and millions of you, but collectively you are family. So start up conversations. Sometimes the bonds that you make with people started by a simple conversation with a stranger. So don't be afraid to open your mouth and talk to someone who you don't know. Number 12, share your food. And literally by that, I mean share your food. Do you have some extra stuff in your cabinet that you're not using? Canned foods that are not going to go bad necessarily, but you have too much of them? What's wrong with getting a bag of that, taking it to your neighbor and saying, hey, what's going on? Hey, I have way too much of this. I'm cleaning out my cabinet. Would you like some? It could be that. It could be taking plates to neighbors. I'm talking old-fashioned share your food. It could be we have Sunday dinner. We always make too much. Invite someone over for that. Share your food. One of the ways in which our ancestors came together is by breaking bread. So take that lesson from the people who came before you and share your food. Give food to other people. I promise you, you'll feel good and they will feel good. Number 11, use your nonverbals. Smile, a hug, a handshake, a dap. When you see people who look like you, even if they look like they're kind of pissy, they have an attitude, whatever it is, I don't care. Smile at them. You don't even have to say hi. It can just be with your eyes. When you're meeting someone, when you say hi, how do you greet them? Do you seem warm? Do you look them in the eye and give them a handshake? Do you say, oh, move that hand out of the way, give me a hug? What do you do to show people that, we are one, we are family? The way that you greet people can go a long way in them feeling as if they are a part of things. So use those nonverbals. Number 10, visiting with seniors. So look around your community. People you know, people you don't. Look around your family. Those you don't know well and those that you do know well. Look at those who are over the age of 65, and I will say amongst our people, probably even those who are over the age of 75. Those are in the 80s. Even those who are in the 90s, if you have those people around you who have been fortunate enough to live that long, how much time do you spend with them? When people retire, sometimes they can become a little bit more needy because they don't have the interaction with people that they had once before. Sometimes illnesses can lead to personality changes. Sometimes people can't get around as well. Sometimes they can't clean their house as well. Sometimes it's hard for them to take care of themselves as well. And because of that, that makes them, when we're looking at it from a self-centered perspective, less viable prospects of people that we want to be around. We can get less from them out of the interaction. Sometimes we feel a little bit burdened with it, but those are the people who we need to be spending time with. Nursing homes did not exist for the greater part of the existence of humanity. We were the nursing homes, and our elders were reveled. So if you can think of one person to just even go by and visit, maybe you just take them a plate. Maybe that's who you take a plate. And you say, hey, I only got a few minutes. I just wanted to drop a plate off to you, give you a hug, and tell you I love them. Take the time to do that. Number 9, start a block club. You could do this formally or informally. If you have people in your neighborhood that you don't know, particularly if you live in a neighborhood with other people who look just like you. That's really the theme of what we're talking about here. It could be as simple as dropping a letter by them and just saying, hey, anybody who has kids, let's this Saturday go to the park. I'm going to bring some popsicles with me. So if you see a lady with popsicles, that's me. Your kids are welcome to get free popsicles. And I hope to see you guys at the park this Saturday, sometime between noon and 3. It could be as simple as that, or it could be starting a formal block club. But think about ways in which you can unify your neighborhood, because Umoja starts in the home, but it's also fostered in our communities. And we really need to be able to get back to that, get back to being able to know each other and trust each other when we live near each other. Number 8, this might be a little controversial, but provide free childcare. I don't want to watch somebody else's kids, especially for free. Just hear me out. There's somebody in your life who has kids, who nobody is watching their kids, and they're kind of stressed out. And I understand that sometimes people can take advantage when they think that you're nice or when you'll watch their kids. But a lot of times people will take advantage of situations because they're desperate and they don't have anyone else to cling on to. And there are plenty of people who will not take advantage. So if you see somebody and they've got kids and you know that they're struggling, you know that maybe mom and dad don't live near, you see they're not going anywhere, just put it out there. You could even put it out there on your Facebook, like, hey, my kids are off to college. I kind of miss my kids being an empty nester. If you need some childcare, few hours on a Saturday, hit me up. The worst I can say is no. Just offer it. But we don't need money, right, to do that. We can just do that because that's what we do for each other. So that is one way to really make people feel like they're not alone, is to help them with their kids the way a family member would, and that is for free. Number 7, organize mindful get-togethers. Now, this can be with organizations that already exist. Like, for example, if you are a part of an organization like NAACP or Jack and Jill, thinking about the concept particularly of Umoja, the concept of unity, and making sure that you use that as a theme when you are organizing events, or make sure that that comes out in the event, that we are working towards being united, that we are all encompassing. It can also just be you at your house organizing events so that people in the community can come together. It can be your friends that haven't seen each other in a while because you all have kids and now people are feeling isolated. But organize get-togethers to make people feel like they're a part of something, so that you know that you're a part of something. Number 6, pool your money. Money pool is something that has been used worldwide for centuries to help people save for large expenses. The way it works is that each member of the pool puts in the same amount of cash each month. Then they take turns receiving a lump sum of money. So for example, if you have 12 people in the pool, everybody puts $100 a month in, and then at the end of, let's say, December, if that's your month, you'd get $1,200, and you could be able to use that to save towards something. Now, obviously, it takes a lot of trust to do money pools with people. So think about ways that you could do that amongst your family if you're uncomfortable in little pieces. So for example, if you're not comfortable, say, putting $100 a month in, Would you be comfortable putting $10 a month in with family members to build trust, with friends to build trust? Is that something you'd be comfortable with? Maybe you guys have a contract around it, but we have to build some level of comfort with each other. It has worked for centuries for other people outside of this nation. I know I have friends who are of Nigerian descent, people who are Mexican, people who are from Palestine. They do this all the time. So in order for us to build that trust, we have to start somewhere. So look at pooling your money and see what you could do with that amongst your friends and family. Positive language only online. Number 5, use positive language only online. I cannot tell you how many conversations I see online with people calling each other coons. I don't even want to say the rest of it. It's just talking so negatively to each other and about each other. Could we stop doing this, please? Number 1, it is public. When you write things online, it is public. These things are being used against us. There are arguments right now about whether people of African descent in this country with lineage here versus first generation or second generation from other nations are really united because of some of the things that have been going on the internet. We don't have another language, particularly in this country, for us to verbalize in. So when you put out there all this stuff, anybody can see it. Me talking right now, anybody can look at and listen to what I'm saying. The biggest Nazi, skinhead, sadist, white power, white nationalists could be watching this right now. I can't help that because the only way to get this out to the people is to get it out to the people. I can't produce this in another language. I can't produce it in Swahili. I can't produce it in Medu. I can't produce it in Igbo. I have to use English in order to get to my target audience. But what I refuse to do is berate people who look like me in a public forum. If you want to kill unity, that is the best way to do it, by putting out negative language about your people in a public way that everybody can hear. So let's try to stop that in 2020. Number 4, organize a street cleaning. This does not have to be something formal, but I'll give you an idea. Earth Day is coming up. That's coming up in April. Around the theme of Earth Day, maybe that month, maybe for the rest of the year. Organize street cleanings. It could just be you and your family saying, hey, we're going to do this in our neighborhood, or maybe, hey, our neighborhood's pristine. We're living pretty high on the hog where we live, but the neighborhood where maybe my beautician lives is not so much. So maybe that would be the neighborhood that you target. Maybe the neighborhood that your church is in, not so much. Maybe the neighborhood that your local temple is in, not so much. Find somewhere that you can organize to be able to clean up and clean up. How much better do we feel when we go down the street in a neighborhood with people that look like us and we see there's not trash on the street? Because there shouldn't be trash on the street. Now, who threw it on there? That's a whole nother issue. We'll do that in a different video, but that is a great way to unite, to come together around cleaning up our communities. All right, we're at our top 3 people, and these are actually here by design, even though I said these were in no particular order. These 3, just to put it out here, are here by design, and these top 3 spots. All right, we're at our top 3 people, and these are actually here by design, even though I said these were in no particular order. These 3, just to put it out here, are here by design, and these top 3 spots. So number 3, estate planning. Now, one might say, what does that have to do with unity? And I'm going to keep this brief, but there is nothing more divisive that can happen to a family than combining death or disability, money and property, and no plan on how to distribute assets, money, what to do with mom or dad when they're sick. List goes on. So avoid that by having a conversation with your children. And if you have parents, trying to have a conversation with them. If you are, over the age of 18 and can have that conversation. Even let me change that. Even young children. If you're 12 and you're listening to the sound of my voice, you can talk to your, 40 something year old parents and say, hey, if something happens to you all, what happens to me? That's okay. These are conversations that we don't have in our unit, these are conversations we don't have in our community that we need to. In order to be unified, we need not be squabbling over who gets the house and who is supposed to pay the taxes upon the death, demise, or disability of our loved ones. Estate planning, essential to maintain unity within family, which gives us more stable communities, which makes us more stable as a whole. Number 2, buy black. Buy black, buy black, buy black. Okay. I'm not saying you can buy black everything. You can't. You're not going to be able to. It's going to be very, very difficult. But you need to try to do it as mindfully as you can when you can. So if you are a person who says, I don't live in an area where anything is black owned, think about other ways that you can support black owned businesses. For example, there are banking systems. I'm going to give you the one that I use, and that's United One. It is an online bank, and you could be anywhere and take advantage of their services. So if you live in Timbuktu and all of a sudden Timbuktu is all white, hey, you can still bank there. You can still bank with them. So think about ways, very creative ways, that you can buy black the way that you can buy black, even if you don't live in an area that makes that very easy. Now, if you do live in an area that makes this very easy, by God, please try to support your people as much as you can. If you have a problem with one business and you don't like the way that they're conducting themselves, go to another. For example, I'm not going to use names, but I went to a black-owned chain on the south side, and I had been there before, but this time I got really bad service. I asked what the wait time was going to be, and they told me 2 hours. And I'm like, how is it 2 hours for fast food? That doesn't make any sense. And they the people behind the counter started kind of turning on each other. I didn't have time for that. So I left, and I could have just said, I'm going to go to another restaurant. I'm going to go somewhere that's not black owned. I don't have time for this. But I didn't. I went to Mickey's Grill. And the service was great. The food was great. It was quick. And then I was able to go where I was going. Don't give up on your people because you have some bad experiences. I'll tell you one thing. Our people were beaten, had hot coffee poured on them, were arrested, had dogs suck on them so that they could go eat at Woolworth, which was not black owned at all. So if our people could go through that, for you to be able to go spend your money with people who aren't black, the least that we could do is to endure some irritation while we try to support businesses that are black. So the number one thing that we can do to foster Umoja during Black History Month and 2020 is to talk about it. Talk. Open your mouth. Speak it. Speak Umoja. Speak unity. Talk about the concept of unity. Talk about it with your family. Talk about it with your friends. Talk about it with your associates. Talk about it with your people. We need unity as black people. We need it. It's the only way things work. We have to understand that we don't have to be monolithic. That's not necessarily what unity is. Unity doesn't mean that you're necessarily monolithic in that way. The only thing that it means is that we can come together around common concepts and common needs. And I can do that with a Muslim, even if I'm Christian. I can do that with a 5%er, even if I'm a Chem. Like we can do that when we get past kind of our own stuff and decide that if we're not here, none of that's going to matter anyway. So I'm going to leave you with a quote by Malcolm X. There can be no black-white unity until there is first some black unity. We cannot think of uniting with others until we have first united amongst ourselves. And on that note, Happy Black History Month, family. Please take advantage of all the wonderful things that are happening throughout this month. And as always, Ireheru, Assalamu alaikum, Kwahiri, and good night. We are the Nguzu Saba 365.
Kwaheri.